get started with Bo Nix. Our first question is from Nathan King.
Hey, Bo, just from last year's game, from you guys being able to come away with the win there and you being able to play well in that game, how much confidence does that give you heading into like a tougher spot on the road? It's going to be more hostile than maybe if y'all hadn't won that game last year.
I think it gives me a lot of confidence just knowing that I'm going into a tough place with similar guys. Obviously, we have a lot of guys coming back, a lot of the same skill guys that I had last year, and then obviously a lot of guys on the defense side of the ball doing the same thing. So feel comfortable. A lot of the guys that made big plays last year, they're back, and we're looking forward to Saturday.
Next, Jeff Spiegel.
Well, we were talking with Najee Harris earlier today, and he's from California, and he had to learn a little bit about this rivalry. It took him, a game or two. You grew up with this. You know it front ways, backwards, sideways. When you go out on that field and you play Alabama, how badly do you want to win that football game, and how hard do you play?
That's a great question. Probably you play as hard as you've ever played in a game in your entire life just because of how much it means. And obviously there's a lot of kids going to school on Monday that are going to have to put up with a lot of crap whichever way it goes. And so as an Auburn fan, growing up that way, several times at school you go and there's a lot of people talking and a lot of people who obviously aren't even close to associated with the school that wear an Alabama shirt just because they bought it at the store. And so that's the kind of stuff that you got to put up with. And most people don't understand that. I mean, there's a lot of people that do come in from out of state and just come to play football at Auburn, Alabama, and just come because of the program and what it means. And then when they get tossed in the rivalry, they their eyes are opened and they kind of see what it's all about. And so it's definitely a huge rivalry, the biggest in college football, and probably one of the biggest in sports, just period. But obviously you just got to play extremely hard and refuse to lose.
Next is Justin Ferguson.
Hey, but last year, converting in the red zone was huge in this game for both teams. Y'all are coming off a game where y'all had to kick some short field goals, had that late touchdown drive, but how much is kind of red zone and executing better in the red zone been an emphasis for y'all this week?
Well, it's going to eventually be a big one. Obviously, today was more of a base down day, but I know our coaches see that, and I know they're going to put the best red zone plan together that they can, and they're going to put us in a great situation, great spot to execute. And at the end of the day, we just got to do exactly what we're set out to do and make. Once we get to the red zone, whatever play is called, we just got to execute and make sure we get the ball in the end zone. Because, like you said, field goals in a close game like this, field goals could be the difference in the game.
Gianna Hahn.
Hey, Bo. So, as a quarterback, from what you've seen out of Mac Jones, I know you probably focus more on the defense, but what has impressed you about him? What do you think are some of his strong points?
Yeah, he does a great job of managing the game, getting the ball to his players around him. Obviously, he's got a great running back, great offensive line, great receivers. That helps a lot, but he does a good job of managing the game, taking completions, and knowing what to do with the ball.
Mark Murphy.
Yeah, Bo, could you talk about what you think are a couple keys to the offense having success on Saturday?
Running the ball is going to be a huge one. Making sure we stay in front of the sticks and keep second and third down short. And then obviously at the end of the day, be efficient on third down and score when we get in the red zone.
Does the Alabama defense look different than last year's?
They're similar. Obviously, they lost a few guys in the back end and up front, a few veteran guys, but then they're also returning some guys with experience and then also have some younger guys. So it's kind of similar like it was last year. They do relatively the same thing, and they still have good players. I mean, they're always going to have good players.
Jordan Hill.
Well, when we talked to Gus earlier about the Iron Bowl last year, he talked about for you that was sort of a growing point. How big was that game and that performance for you personally, and especially as a true freshman in that situation?
It was huge just for my teammates and for Auburn, just to get a win that big against a really respected team. It was huge. It's great for your confidence. It's great really in all aspects. It's what you come to Auburn for, and we did a great job with just throughout the game, just continue to fight, continue to play. And at the end of the day, when it came down to it, we made some plays that were huge. And like you said, just continue to work and continue to grow in different ways so that I can play in big games, play good in big games as we continue down the road, and that was obviously a great step for me.
Next is Josh Vitale.
Hey, but when you see an offense in Alabama that's scoring almost 50 points a game, do you as an offense go into that game thinking, hey, we have to be perfect if we want to keep up with these guys?
That's if you have a bad defense, and I don't think we have a bad defense. So I'm pretty confident in those guys. They've done a really good job of scheming people up in the past, especially on offense. But, I mean, when you look at Iron Bowls in previous years, you look at 2010 when we had a high-power and scoring offense, they held us in the 20s. When you look at 2013, they held us. And so you can kind of throw statistics out the window when you get this late in the season in the Iron Bowl, because both teams, it's kind of like you scratch the whole entire year and you just come and show up for a day and play. And so both teams are going to have different game plans. Both teams are going to have different strategies, but it's just going to be a physical game, and it's going to be who wants it more.
Tom Green.
Hey, Bo. Just have you thought about how cool it is that you have two starting offensive linemen who have both overcome cancer?
Yeah, that's an incredible question. I do think it's a great testament to those guys, how much they've had to overcome, what they've done to get to this point, and just never ever quit. They don't have any quit in them, any times they're just going to let down. Obviously, they know what it's like to push through something, and you can see that this year, and it kind of spreads throughout the locker room.
Jason Caldwell.
Oh, how much of a confidence boost was it last week that you play without Tank for the whole game, basically, and then you have to have two new offensive tackles come in, but your guys were able to finish. How much of a confidence boost was it that you guys did it while you weren't in full strength?
Well, the guys that replaced them did a great job, and DJ and Worm, they ran the ball really well, really effectively. They ran it tough, ran it physical and very fast. They did a good job when they came in and not kind of taking a step back. They just continued what they were supposed to do, and we knew those guys coming in were going to be really good players, and we knew we had three good running backs. So if one happened to go down like it happened, those two just stepped up and continued just to carry the ball well. And then obviously our two tackles that came in finished the game strong. We ran the ball effectively there at the end, and those are two guys that they want to succeed. They want to get in there and help the team. And so at the end of the day, if you will just give great effort, and if you want to do it, then that's all you can ask for.
Brian Matthews.
Yes, Bo. I know Coach talks to us a lot about dealing with adversity and the team. Does he talk to you guys about that a lot? And did that help you guys in the first quarter of that Tennessee game? Y'all got behind.
Yeah, he talks to us about it a lot. Obviously, this is a weird season. We've been through a lot of ups and downs and a lot of adversity, a lot of uncertainties, a lot of stuff not really sure what's going on. And so he's definitely been in our ear about it and been telling us. And so definitely in the first quarter when we got down 10-0, nobody really flinched. Nobody really started blaming. Nobody got down. We just kind of weathered the storm, scored a touchdown, and then got back in the game. And that's just how quick it happens. And when everybody's on the same page, stuff like that, when you face adversity, you kind of move past it.
If I could have a quick follow-up, I believe you won a championship in Bryant-Denny with Vincent Valley. Does that experience playing there help you any going into this game?
Probably a few less fans that night than what there's going to be. But obviously just being there, knowing what the stadium looks like, knowing what where the clocks are and things like that, that obviously helps a great deal. So it's nice that I have played there. It's going to be a tremendous amount of different than what it was I guess it was 3 years ago now, and so a lot more people, probably a lot louder, and a better defense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get two more. First is Nathan King.
Hey, Bo, obviously you guys can't really catch a break in terms of your offensive line injuries, but going back to the preseason and the beginning of the year when you had to rotate so many guys and you were playing behind so many guys, how much does that help you now that some of those guys might be put into starting roles?
Huge, just because now guys have been in that situation. The guys next to them know how to communicate better, and so you got a lot more guys on the offensive line that have more experience than what we had in fall camp. And so that was That's obviously huge. So whoever's thrown out there, whoever's going out there to play, our coaches trust them, our players trust them. We feel good about it.
Our last one's from Jordan Hill.
You talked about growing up in this rivalry and obviously following it. As a kid, what games do you really remember watching in this rivalry that come to mind from watching Alabama and Auburn over the years?
Obviously, quite a bit of them. Fear of the Thumb when we beat them 6 straight times. 2010 when we overcame a huge deficit late in the game. That's probably one of the most monumental ones just because of how much impact it had on the entire season and winning a national championship. 13 was kind of the same way. It took us to the SEC championship. 17 we won the West. And then last year when nobody thought we could do it. It's just some great games. Like I said before, it's a great rivalry. It's fun to be a part of. It's fun to be a fan in the stands. It's fun to be a player on the field. It's fun at home watching it on the TV. So really, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's a game you must watch, and we're really looking forward to it.
All right, Bo. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.